Item number 3, AB 266, presented by Assemblymember Tasha Berner. Welcome.
My witnesses can now come into the room and come sit at the table with me. Mr.
Welcome.
Chair and members, this is a revised version of the bill that I've been working on since last year, and I'd like to thank the chair and especially your staff for their work on this bill. AB 266, upon appropriation by the legislature, would create an ongoing paid legislative internship program for undergraduate students in the Assembly and Senate. For students who cannot afford to work for free in any field or industry, unpaid internships represent an insurmountable and inequitable barrier to the workforce. In fact, I was somebody like that. I worked 3 jobs through college. I couldn't do an unpaid internship because I simply had to work the 3 jobs. And so it wasn't even an option for me. With the vast majority of our internships here in the legislature offered as unpaid, we are disproportionately impacting historically underrepresented students. And we are cutting ourselves off from the potential pipeline of diverse talent at a time when we are in desperate need of more staff. Though we do sometimes pay undergraduate internships in the legislature, they're often limited and none are permanent. AB 266 would remedy this by creating a permanent, ongoing internship program administered by the California State University Center for California Studies, the same center that currently runs our successful Assembly and Senate fellowship programs. Every Assembly and Senate office would be eligible to host 2 interns per year for a maximum of 6 months each. Eligible students just needed to be 18 years of age or older, a resident of the state, and enrolled in an accredited post-secondary institution in California. Each intern would receive $340 a week, stipend for up to 20 hours of work, and that work could happen in the district or in capital offices. I will be taking amendments in this committee to increase the appropriation from $2 million to $3.6 million annually in order for the center to have the necessary staff and administration to run the program properly. In short, AB 266 offers us a way, building on successful models from other programs, to create a more equitable and sustainable paid internship program for the legislature. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. And with me here today, I have Carlos Mark Vera, the co-founder and executive director of Pay Our Interns, and a national advocacy group for paid internships located in Los Angeles and DC. And I also have Aaron Gilbert O'Neill, an intern here in the Assembly, and I think with maybe one of your committee members.
I'll move the bill.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you so much. Welcome.
All right.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the Higher Ed Assembly Committee. My name is Carlos Mark Vera. It's a pleasure being here. I'm here standing with Assemblywoman Tasha Berner in support of AB 266, unpaid internships in the legislature, or at least the lack of dedicated ongoing funding on this has disproportionately impacted youth of color and those from working class backgrounds. I know this firsthand as a native of Victorville, California, who is first generation and working class. I struggle to make ends meet doing unpaid internships in public service. Those experiences informed my work, and I'm proud to say that Pay Our Interns the last couple of years has worked with institutions like Congress to pay their own interns. And the solution that they came up with was have a fund outside of the members' budgets, just dedicated specifically for interns. And that was done with broad support from both Democrats and Republicans. And just last year, we made history with paid internships in the White House. This is a win-win issue because it provides interns to have funds to pay for clothing, right, needed to be here, while ensuring that there's a talent pool for the legislature to operate effectively. Our work is powered by intern stories, and one that really resonated with me was an intern who was in a district office at the start of the pandemic, who was in charge of EDD cases and had to deal with rightfully angry, upset constituents, and that was their job, and they were not getting paid for that. While there's been progress on this issue, and we are seeing more offices pay some interns from their own budgets, it is not consistent or expansive due to institutional constraints. In fact, in a 2021 SACB article, Assemblywoman mentioned that she was only able to pay an intern from her budget because her staffer was on maternity leave. AB 266 meets a need that the legislature has. It does not duplicate any program. In fact, it complements the fellows program. And it would still allow offices to offer unpaid internships should they want it. Given the state economic outlook, I know there's rightfully cautious of funding new programs, but I don't think this should be seen as something new, but in fact, a way of doing something that should have been done 5-10 years ago. We strongly urge the support of AB 266, and the legislature really has the opportunity to rectify a longstanding inequity. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and good afternoon, Chair and members. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Aaron Gilbert O'Neill, and I am a second-year political science student at Sacramento State trying to pursue a career in public policy. I am currently an unpaid intern in the Capitol today, and I have had 2 other unpaid internships following years as well. I joined today with the Assemblywoman in support of AB 266. As an unpaid intern, there are times when I pay just to show up to work. Everything from paying for parking to paying to make sure I have business attire, like this today, is a cost that I pay up front as an intern. But even with those challenges I might face as an unpaid intern, it's not the most important reason to pay interns. The most important reason is for those who can't even afford to become an intern at all. Too many young people, particularly from underserved communities and communities of color, are unable to even become interns because they just don't have the resources to do so. Our state government is meant to represent all communities across California, but when we do not pay our interns, it is these communities which also go unrepresented. And if we don't pay interns to increase our diversity, then our communities lose that representation every time they make a phone call to any Senate or Assembly office. Interns are an integral part of our state government, and investment in them is an investment in our future and the future of the state. So I do urge the committee today to support AB 266. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there witnesses in support in the hearing room?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. My name is Ivan Garcia. I'm an undergraduate at UC Davis, and I'm also here repping the East Bay. I've always been passionate about engaging in politics and within my local community. I've interned for local campaigns for folks in office, but as I evolved through this work, like so many others, I am presented with one clear barrier, which is money, financial compensation, and unpaid internships. A few years ago, I was a lead organizer for an assembly race. I knocked on doors, engaged volunteers, and did all of the campaign things you all are very familiar with. After our candidate won, the thought of possibly interning within the California State Assembly was exciting. And yet, I was faced with the reality that there was no budget to pay interns, and that most assembly interns are and remain unpaid. You see, this is more than just unpaid internships. For me, and like many others, as so many have said, it's about choosing to intern unpaid or being able to make rent at the end of the month, interning or being able to afford groceries this week, interning or being able to afford transportation, and working extra jobs as a first-generation college student trying to engage in our government and those who represent us. This issue is very much about those who have the ability to intern and those who don't, those who have the financial means and are able to intern, and those like me who quite simply don't have that same privilege and are forced to supplement unpaid internships in other extraneous ways. Members, I respectfully ask you to support AB 266, invest in our young people, and give students like me, my peers within the CSU system, the chance to intern within the State Assembly without financial means and compensation being a barrier to that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there witnesses in opposition in the hearing room? Are there tweeners in the hearing room?
Good afternoon, Mary Moyle with CSU. We don't have an official position on this bill. We would just like to ensure that there's adequate funding and would like to continue to work with the author's office. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, any questions or comments? Seeing none, somewhere we'd like to close, please.
Yeah, so we will be taking amendments in the next committee that address the funding issue that was mentioned. And I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you so much, Assemblyman Berner, for working with our committee staff in the fall on a solution to provide paid internships for college students throughout our capital. As thank you to the testimony here provided here today. As we continue to look for ways to reduce the cost of attending college, paid internships are an excellent tool to help students not only pay for college, but also to learn employable skills. I look forward to not only supporting this bill, but hopefully one day hosting an intern in our office students program. And with that, I encourage an aye vote. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass to the Appropriations Committee. Fong.
Aye.
Fong, aye. Ta. Addis.
Aye.
Addis, aye. Arambula.
Aye.
Arambula, aye. Gabriel. Irwin. Lowe. Lowe, aye. Ortega. Sanchez. Sanchez not voting. Santiago. Wallace.
Aye.
Wallace, aye. Weber.
The bill has 5 ayes, and when not voting, it will keep the roll open for members to, the bill's on hold. We'll keep it open for members to add on. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Next up is Assembler Jones Sawyer. And